Welcome back to Llama Mama Kayla's Yarn Tube. I'm Kayla. Thanks for stopping by and visiting with me today here on Crochet WIP Wednesday. I am decided today I'm going to sew my rectangle together for my flag blanket that I am making. So that's what I'm doing today, is laying out some squares. Now, when I first started working on this particular project, I was not planning on trying to replicate what our USA flag looks like. Like, I wasn't worried about how many stars I ended up on it. I mean, I was not trying to do 50 stars. I was not, I didn't have any kind of plans of trying to replicate the flag. I didn't care if it had 20 stars. I didn't care if it had, an odd number of stars. That's not what I was going for. But in working on it and just trying to make it proportion-wise, I think it's ending up... Hold on. Oh, excuse me. And thank you, because I know some of you said bless you. I wasn't trying to, I forgot what I was saying. I wasn't trying to replicate the flag, but in trying to proportion my project, I've ended up having to do more of these squares, and these just represent stars. And I do know that on the flag the stars are not lined up, but like I said, I'm not trying to replicate the American flag. I'm just trying to make a flag that resembles the American flag, okay? So, just wanted to be clear what my goal was, which is whatever works out, okay? That's my goal. Let's see. That square looks bigger. For some reason, that square looks bigger than that one. I'm using a 5mm hook, but I wonder if I use something different on that one. Make sure this square is correct. I don't know. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So in doing this, I may have ended up doing 50 stars. I may have 10 going down and 5 rows going, no, 10 going across and 5 rows coming down is what I think I have made enough stars to do, which was not my original plan. Like, I really didn't have a plan. I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal. And that's just the, that's what seems to have happened here. But I don't want this to be so big, but I guess it's just going to be. I was going to say I don't want it to be so big that, you know what I mean. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just start putting my squares together, and my workspace here isn't really big enough to show you exactly everything, but okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I want to make sure that I have the right sides facing up on those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these will come off at that end down there. 8, 9, 10. Okay. So I should have 20 on my table right now. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I want to single crochet these together. So I'm going to take, I'm just going to flip these up. Let me put these where you can see them a little bit better. I'm just going to flip these up. So this is face and face, and I'm going to put face to face. All the way down. And then I am going to recount and make sure I do have 10 on my desk. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's why I had that one laying there. And 10. Okay, so I'm just going to start single crocheting and make a row. Yeah, my table space isn't big enough here to show, you know, from end to end, but you're going to get the idea. Alright, so I'm just taking my yarn here and pulling it over there. Now, what I'm going to do is get an H hook, which is this hook right here for me. This is a hook that Camper 14 Tina had made, and it is labeled an H on it right here, so I can grab that easily and know. Okay, so I'm just doing this the most simplest way that I know how. I don't want to sew, so single crochet is my choice. And remember, I've got face to face, so my two backs are out. I'm just pull my yarn through. I'm going to slip stitch. Then I'm going to go back through that same chain 2 space. Pull this yarn through, and then I'm a single crochet. Now, single crocheting granny squares together is so easy, because you know you have, 3 stitches and then a chain 1 space. So I'm going to put 3 single crochets, a single crochet in the chain 1 space, 3 single crochets, and a single crochet in this space, 3 single crochets, and a single crochet in this space, and then I'm going to jump to the next one. So yeah, just follow me along today while I chat and we put together I put together some granny squares. Now on this, you do want to make sure you get front loop, back loop of each square that you're working with there. So both layers, you want 4 loops on here, from front loop, back loop, front loop, back loop. And then you just single crochet. And after I do this 1 square, we're going to lay it down and kind of stretch it out and see what that looks like. So on the inside of this blanket will be a little ridge. You can make it on the outside if you wanted to put yours back to back instead of front to back. You could totally do it the other way, so your ridge ends up on the front of your blanket. I just don't like that look for myself, so I like for the ridge to be on the bottom. And then when you're covered up with a blanket, it doesn't bother me. It's not like I'm naked under the blanket and feel that ridge. I have clothes in between me and the ridge, and so it doesn't bother me. But it might bother some people, especially if you're naked under the blanket. I don't know. I lost my place there, being silly. Okay, did I get the right stitches in that? Well, it looks like I don't have enough stitches there, but let me see. Okay, I did the, okay. I might have missed that first stitch right there. So you do have to watch that right after your, what do you call that? Your chain 1 space stitch. Make sure you don't miss the very first stitch after that. So it doesn't take long to, crochet these together. So anyway, I just wanted to show you, like, jumping off to the next one after this to show what I am doing. And I don't know yet until we pull this up, okay? Alright, so now I need to add my second set of squares here. So I single crocheted in this chain 2 space. I'm just going to jump right over to this, go through both of the chain 2 spaces, and single crochet. And then I'm starting on these 3 stitches on top of the double crochets. After your chain 1 space crochet, the next one, especially on the bottom, which you might call it a top, but I'm talking about this one, the first stitch kind of wants to go in and hide a little bit, so you have to be careful that you get that stitch. This one right here wants to jump over that way, and so you automatically would want to go in that, but you need to pull back and go into this one. Did I do that right? Yeah. So this is what I am working on today. Sometimes at night, I have these yarns here by my desk, and I will work on red and white squares. But, this is a long-term project for me, obviously. Obviously, I'm not getting it done in a day or a week. But, I feel like Americana in the United States is something we can decorate all year long, so it doesn't matter exactly when I get it finished. I don't know. I'm not setting a deadline. Okay, so just to look at these and see how they are going, whenever you finish your whole row, you would just kind of stretch out your stitches there. Okay, and eventually we would turn, after we get all these rows done, I'm going to do row by row by row, then I would turn my whole thing and then flip it like this and do the same thing. Just crochet all the way down. And if you want to see that, let me know in this video, so I will make sure that I show that in a video when I get to that point. But first, I've got to get 5 rows crocheted together like this. Okay? Anyway, guys, so it is Crochet WIP Wednesday, so tell me what you are working on today. What is your crochet project, or any project? It doesn't have to be a crochet project. I like hearing about whatever you've got going on in your life. So tell me today what you're working on, what's going on. Did anybody make the cross bag body? I've seen several photos in the Facebook group. I was able to get a connection last night and get on there and see lots of photos. They're so cute. Love seeing those. I really liked seeing, how different people's turned out. The different yarns just make each bag unique. And nobody's, is turning out the same, because we all have different color choices. That's one where I did where I fastened off, and so I gotta just figure out where my hook's gonna go through. My hook wants to jump every time I try to poke it through. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. See, it still wants to jump over into that space instead of letting me go right through here. There, got it. My yarn's not pulling through right, so hang on. I think it's because I went through this, I had to make a little space for my yarn to go through. Sometimes that happens, and I've got too much going on right here in this little space. There, I got it. I just had to figure out which way to pull it so it wasn't catching. So it is Wednesday of this week. I just said that, but I have been struggling this week. It's been a rough week for me, health-wise. I've just been struggling and trying to make it through. Got a lot going on in my body, but you know, I'm not letting it win. But I have had to slow down and rest and spend some time just, you know, taking care of myself. I've had to do that this week. I haven't been able to sleep well at night because of pain. But, you know, that's life, right? I'm sure we all experience that at times. I did have a eye doctor appointment on Monday, and it went really well. I take the medication called Plaquenil, and some of you guys might take that also. And when you take Plaquenil, you have to get frequent eye checks because Plaquenil can mess with your eyes. And my eyes are bad enough as it is, so I always make sure I do go to those appointments. And I've been going and going and going. And this is an eye doctor at the hospital, at the eye clinic. And I go there for these checks because everything goes into the system and my chart, and then my doctor can see that I went to the appointment and what they had to say about it and stuff. And I don't have to, you know, like remember to take reports from another eye doctor or anything. Everything's there in the computer for him to see and follow along. So anyway, my eyes are really bad, and so I've been waiting to get a prescription for glasses. And so the last time I went to an appointment, I thought I was going to finally see the eye doctor to get the prescription, but instead they had me to retake some tests. So I did that, and they said I would see him this time. Well, I did see him, and then at the end of our appointment, he said, "Well, how's your glasses working out?" And I said, "Well, I don't have any glasses." And he said, "We gave you a prescription in January." I said, "No, sir. I was hoping I was getting a prescription today." And he said, "Well, I wrote one in January, but I guess it got overlooked and they didn't give you the prescription." But he said, 6 months ago, do you want me to do you an appointment to come back for a new eye exam, or do you want to take that prescription? He said 6 months isn't going to make a difference on your vision. And I said, "Give me the prescription." So he printed out the prescription and brought it back in there to me. And I did go and get that filled. I went to the little eyeglass place right inside our mall's door. When you walk into our mall, it's the food court, and there's an eyeglass place right there. So I was able to just, you know, not have to go a long ways. And jumped in there and got that prescription filled. So I will have new glasses coming really, really soon. She said the 24th, but then she said they always come in before the estimated time. So she'll be calling me to let me know that they're in soon. So that's exciting. I'm going to be happy to be able to see, right? That's going to be a good thing. I think I skipped a stitch in there. I don't think I pulled this one up far enough to get that first double crochet. So see how easy that is to skip that. You know, if you're sewing these together, crocheting these together, you always want to make sure, or if your numbers don't, if these don't work out, that's probably what you did, was skip that first stitch. So anyway, guys, and then I'm dealing with some tube issues with my feeding tube, and I still have the leaky legs going on, but my legs are not swollen, not even in the slightest bit swollen, nothing. So I don't have any, you know, like edema or lymphedema going on there. So I'm waiting to see when I get an appointment to come in and talk about that, see what's going on. Big Daddy's been working. He has deadlines that he needs to meet at work. So he has been working the weekend, doing some training, but also working on some things he's got to get done for deadlines. And, we saw our son Dakota last night. And I'm so worried about him. This is totally mom guilt. Okay, Dakota and I are both allergic to coconut. It affects me with it makes my tongue swell and my throat close off a little bit. But not like life-threatening closing off. But I don't want to keep pushing it, and it does, you know, turn into that. So I do avoid coconut, but it makes my tongue swell really huge, and I can't talk plain. Like, seriously. One time I even had to teach a class like that. I had to teach 5 classes, actually, because it was a full day, and I had 5 classes. And I had to teach all day with my tongue swollen like that. Like, I couldn't take a Benadryl because I had to stay awake to teach these classes. This was for kids. So anyway. But coconut on Dakota, it also affects his throat more so than his tongue. But now he's figured out that that is what's happening to his joints. He has some joint issues and lots of pain. And as a kid, he had a lot of joint pain and issues. And there was times where he could not walk. He couldn't stand up and walk because of the pain in his hips. And we just never could really figure that out. The orthopedic doctor finally just said growth plate injury for his hip, or growth plate. I mean, he called it several different things because we couldn't figure it out. His x-rays were good, And then sometimes they would say, oh, he had a cold or a virus or something and it settled in his hips. So we had several explanations of what was going on with his hips. But now we're thinking all that was wrong because twice lately, Dakota has accidentally got coconut. And both times that he got coconut, his joints started hurting, swelling, and just in a lot of pain. And he's went through this his whole life, but he's ate coconut his whole life until he, had a reaction and found out we figured out he was allergic to coconut. Before then, let me make sure I got that first one. Nope. Before then, he wasn't having he was just having throat. We thought that's all coconut did to him. But before he ever had coconut sensations, to know that he was allergic to coconut, I'm going to do that one just totally over because I don't like how that went. I think I'm talking and I just didn't do it right. Anyway, back to Dakota. So we went to an event a few Saturdays ago, and there was vendors set up, and where Elijah works was one of the places set up, and they were doing some smoothies. Now, I had already encountered a coconut smoothie at their work one time, and so when I asked one of the employees at this event, I said, hey, what flavors do y'all have? And she said they had Java, strawberry, maybe one other, and then she said, and we have the Hawaiian pina colada or something that you can't have. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks for remembering that. And then I ended up getting Java. I just didn't like the other flavors. So I got Java, which, is a chocolate coffee or whatever. And Big Daddy got Java too. But Dakota got strawberry, and he asked her, he said, does the strawberry have coconut in it? And she looked at the bottle and she said, no, it doesn't. So he got strawberry. Immediately after that, he started feeling just very achy all over. And his knees, his ankles and his knees and hips and wrist and fingers started hurting him really bad. So he wondered, did that have coconut in it or something? We just really didn't know. Okay, so go on a few weeks ahead, 2 more weeks. At his job, they started doing some coffees and teas and stuff like that at the bakery. And he's been, very careful not to, make sure he wasn't getting a coconut one. But then they got a strawberry one in, and it has artificial flavorings in it. But he thought, he didn't see coconut, so he tasted it. He only drank about half the cup, and this was earlier this week. He drank about half the cup, and he started hurting. He started feeling the effects of it. And by the end of the day, he could barely walk. Just like when he was a kid. He could barely walk. His hips were hurting so bad, his knees. So he took like ibuprofen, Tylenol, or whatever it is he took, and it helped with his knee some, but nothing else. You know, we really wasn't getting much relief because it was hurting. He was in a lot of pain. So he had told me this, and the next day after that, like, he had called me that night and told me that he thinks all this time coconut's been doing that to him. And I'm like, what? Really? And so anyway, the next day he woke up in so much pain. He said he didn't even sleep because he couldn't even move in the bed. He couldn't roll over or anything because of the pain. And that's exactly what used to happen to him when he was a kid. He couldn't get out of the bed because of the pain. And so the next day when he did get up, he barely could get out of the bed, and he was hurting so bad. He had to use a cane that day. He was just hurting so bad. And so this was like Sunday. Sunday's when he took drank the strawberry drink. I saw him last night on Tuesday. His hand, and all this was so swollen. His fingers looked like fat vine or sausages stuck on. They were so swollen, and he was just sitting there with his hand, and I was like, what is it? And he's like, it's just hurting so bad. I can't hardly even move my hand. And just watching him sitting there, trying to eat was very interesting because he was in a lot of pain. So, and then I'm sitting there with mom guilt because I have a lot of autoimmune diseases going on. And my joints flare up, and I have a lot of pain in my hands and wrists and elbows and knees and right down to my ankles, my toes, everything. When it flares up, right? So I'm sitting there with a lot of mom guilt, wondering, is he going to follow suit with me and end up with this, whatever, different things going on that affect joints. But he was in so much pain last night, and that's it. And he's taking Benadryl. I don't know. He's gonna have to, I don't know what he's gonna have to do. But I did feel that mom guilt, like, oh no, what have I passed on to him? Because that's totally a possibility. Guys, I'm just chatting about my kids and whatever I got going on here. That's what's on my mind today is, Dakota and the pain, and I know he's been hurting. Well, I'm almost finished with this row. I appreciate y'all keeping me company while I've been crocheting on this row. I see the mail cars out there. We are very, very rural. So we don't have the typical mail vehicles. Our mail people drive, their own vehicles. So I see the mail lady's car out there, and Phoebe can't hear her because she didn't bark. I was prepared to shut the video off if she started barking, but she didn't. Is this the last one? Yeah, and then I will make sure that I do have 10 going on here. I don't know, that doesn't feel right. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I want to make sure I had both loops. Yep, almost done here. And so I work on red and white squares here and there, sometimes late at night after I, you know, worked on a project, or in between a project, I just need to do something different. I'll just do a few red and white squares. Oh, good grief, cat. Oh. All right. There's 3 more stitches. All right, now I've got 2 rows crocheted together, so I'm going to cut my yarn over here. And pull my yarn through. All right, so I'm just gonna stretch out these stitches the best that I can so it will lay flattish. And I'll show you how I'll go ahead and start, you know, just show you what I do to get the 3rd row going. And that's what I'll do each time down. Let me move this out of the way to have some space here. Some people prefer sewing. That's a little difficult for me, so I am just, you know, I prefer to just crochet it together real quick. All right, now here's the thing. Let me see if I got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, I do. So what I do now, when I get to the next row, first off, I need to get 10 squares out. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 5 right here, and I'm just going to throw 5 over here. So I'm going to take these 5 and flip them up face to face with that last row that I did. I am making sure the back sides are facing up. So then I can just take my yarn and you do want to leave a little bit of a tail here on each end, so you know have something to work with. If your tail's too short, you don't have much to work with. Okay. Trying to make sure. I usually always try to put my tail to the back and my working yard to the front. Alright, and now I'm just going to single crochet this row onto that row. Doing the same thing. Just making sure I get all the loops on there. Cool. Well, guys, I have just chatted and talked your head off. You're probably not even still here. I'm just talking to myself, which is what I'm doing anyway. But I only talk to myself when I have the camera on, okay? I don't just sit around and talk to myself without the camera on. So that's good. Oh, when I might have said this before, but sometimes in the mornings when I'm laying in the bed and I hear Big Daddy in there getting ready, I hear him talking. And so I was hearing that, you know, not every day, but sometimes I would hear him talking. And one day I said, "Who are you talking to?" And he said, "Myself." I was like, "What?" And he said, "It's the most intelligent conversation I get to have all day." Or something to that effect. I was like, oh my goodness. He always says stuff like, "I'm the most normal person I know." I'm like, you don't know very many people. So now I have the first square of the third row going on here. I need some more yarn, is what I need. Throw that yarn out there. And then I'm just going to jump to the next one. I'm going to have to get a bigger space. I'm going to have to do this on the coffee table and lay this out once I get it done. Show you guys, but I'm really concerned about this being so big. Like, I wasn't setting out to do this big of a blanket at all. Did I crochet? Did I single crochet that? I can't even remember what I did. Yeah, maybe I did. I was like, did I slip stitch into that or did I single crochet into it? Yeah, I'm gonna have to lay this out and figure out how many whites I need, because I'm gonna have, you know, white and reds coming off here and white and reds coming down here, the stripes, you know. And I'm obviously going to do not the same amount of stripes that's on the American flag, because remember, I'm not trying to replicate the American flag. On the American flag, they would have 7 stripes over here to the side, but I'm only gonna have 5 because I'm doing 5 rows instead of 7. So there's that. So anyway, I'm just gonna work on my stripes, my red and white stripes. Continue to work on them, you know, not trying to like get a certain amount done by a certain time. This is an ongoing project. I was just going to show you one. Let me get this square done, and I was going to show you what it looks like with the third row starting to add on. I wanted to get more than one block before I jump off here. Okay, so now, see, we're continuing to go down. So actually this is 3 rows down, so I only have 2 more rows after this row, and I'll have my 5. Then I can flip up and do the same thing coming this way. But guys, I'm gonna let you get going. I'm not just gonna keep you here all day. Good grief, it's 45 minutes already. And I don't know if I told you anything. I don't even know what I did tell you. I have my son on my mind today, you know. Like, I'm dealing with a lot of issues and some pain and just things going on in my body, but I'm also just worried about him because he's so young. He's just 31. He's just 31, and I hate that he is suffering like that still. Growing up, here I go chatting again. Growing up, there's been lots of times where he was on crutches because of his hips. There was a time that he was in a wheelchair for a little while because of his hips, because the doctor wanted to just give his hips complete rest. So we did the wheelchair thing for a little while, and that was very hard on us. He must have been 11 or 12 at that time. Maybe even slightly younger, 10. But now he thinks, he's put all this together, and he thinks coconut has caused that his whole life. And it could be. Could be, I don't know. So the coconut doesn't only affect his throat, it affects his joints, is what he's thinking. So, yeah. Anyway, and he doesn't have health insurance to just run to the doctor. I said, you're going to have to go get some blood work done just to make sure, because I didn't say it to him, but I'm thinking, you know, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and all this could be going on also. But he's convinced that it's coconut. But I said, you need to go get some blood work done. And I was going to wait and, you know, later if he was to make an appointment, tell him, you know, ask for this. Ask to get, you know, blood work and tested for this, you know, whatever. But he said, okay, I'll get right on that when you find that imaginary doctor that takes my imaginary insurance. And I'll make my imaginary appointment. He's a smart aleck, just like me. He got that from his mama. He might look like his daddy, but he acts like his mama. So, anyway, I'd appreciate if you would keep Dakota in your prayers. And just pray that this passes quickly, because he was in a lot of pain. A lot of pain. And his hands and arms and fingers were just so swollen that it just broke this mama's heart, seeing all that and just knowing he was sitting there in pain. If you're a parent, I know you understand that mom guilt thing. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go for sure this time, okay? I just enjoy talking to y'all and just, you know, bouncing off all this to y'all. But I hope you did tell me in the comments what you got going on in your life and what you're working on and all that kind of good stuff. All right, friends, I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.